Hi and welcome to another video. My name is Britt Swiderski. My blog is artismysunshine.blogspot.com, and I wanted to do a video to show you a technique that I learned a little while ago from just some blogs around the internet. I wanted to try it and give you guys a video to show you how to do it because I think it's really cool. Ever since I've got my new camera, I've been really excited about making a couple video tutorials and possibly sharing some knowledge with you, little tips and tricks that I have. So yeah, I decided to make a video. I'm hoping that I can make this a pretty regular feature on my blog, and eventually I hope to have a video every week. So I'm going to try it for a little bit, see how it goes, and yeah, thanks for watching and enjoy the video today. Okay, so we're going to start out with some distress inks. I chose 3 colors that were analogous colors, so next to each other on the color wheel, so they could blend easily together. It wouldn't really hurt the other colors if they get mixed together with water. I started out with Wild Honey, then some Spiced Marmalade, and then some Barn Door, and I just put 4 impressions of it on a sheet of wax paper that I had taped to my work surface. If you have a Tim Holtz mat, or any other work surface like that that resists heat and water, that would be great. I just couldn't find mine today. So then I'm taking a Tim Holtz mini mister with just plain water in it and spritzing the distress ink on my wax paper. Now notice I only spritzed it about 6 or 7 times. I just wanted to get little droplets. I've tried this technique before and sprayed it too much and it doesn't turn out as well. So you can go a little bit more water, but be careful not to overload it. You can always add more water later. Okay, so now I'm just going through picking up some ink, making sure to get multiple parts of the ink, and then stamping it down and picking it up. Just be careful not to move it because it is not just regular ink, it's a little bit more wet. Then I'm making sure to stagger my image and try not to have very much overlap because you'll see it gets kind of muddy in the overlap area. And I just keep going until I have all of the white areas of this cardstock covered. Okay, so I decided that I had lots of ink left over. I didn't want to waste it, so I took the scrap that I had left over from cutting out my original card front and actually added more water to it. So this one's going to be a more diluted one. I kind of wanted to show the difference between the two looks. So this one's going to end up lighter and a little bit more watercolor-y. And if this is the look you're going for, then awesome. So I just did the same thing that I did with the other one. Stamped it, making sure to mix the colors together. And honestly, I like the more vibrant look better, but I think this would be a really good background if you were doing greens and blues. The orange kind of mixes together to make a salmon color though. So I decided to do a little bit more to spice it up a little bit. So I grabbed my mini mister with Perfect Pearls in it, just kind of a little scoop of Perfect Pearls in a bottle of water, and I'm spritzing it over and letting it kind of mix together. And honestly, I wouldn't recommend wax paper. This was the first time I used it for this technique, and the water went through it. So if you have the Tim Holtz mat, definitely go ahead and use that. And I definitely need to find mine. Okay, so now I'm adding more water. I wanted to kind of bring out the watercolor effect extra in this one. Kind of just an experiment one. I'll post a final of this little piece as well on my blog when I'm done, because I didn't make the card with it. So then I put both of these down. I spritzed the bottom one again with a little bit of Perfect Pearl mixture and then a little bit of water, just to kind of really bring out the color and give it a little bit of extra shine. And it's really just an experiment. I mean, you can't really go wrong with it. It's just mixing water, and distress inks always react well with water. So now I'm going to go in kind of a Blair Witch Project style here. So you can definitely see the top one is much lighter because there was more water used and less ink. Okay, so I let these dry under, first I let them air dry, and then to flatten them out I put them under a stack of heavy paper and books for a couple hours. I just kind of walked away, watched a football game. Then I came back and I was ready to start my card. So I'm taking some barn door distress ink, and I'm going to distress around the outside because I thought it would really make the orange and the yellow pop right off the card. So I'm just starting off the paper, working in. Barn door is a really vibrant, amazing color, but I was kind of careful not to get too much on there because I knew it might overpower it. And in fact, I didn't actually want this much on it, but I ended up liking the look, so it was a happy mistake. Alright, now I'm going to get started with my accents, making sure this will look good with the smoky shadow cardstock I have from Paper Tray Ink. And I pulled this from the Cosmo Cricut Togetherness line, I believe. And it's a ledger paper, so I'm cutting it with my paper trimmer about 3.75 inches by 1.75 inches to give it a good third of the front of the card. And my favorite thing to do with ledger paper is actually cut it the way it's not supposed to go, so it looks like stripes. I really like the dotted and solid lines. I think it's a really cool combination. So now I'm going to distress the top edge that will be going on the card, because I won't have the chance to do it after I glue it down. And now I'm going to adhere it to the card. I'll distress the edges, the other edges, with the barn door distress ink later, but I wanted to trim off the sides before I distressed it so that I didn't have to do it twice, because I intentionally made it a little bit longer so I could cut it off. Now I'm just going through cutting off the excess with my handy dandy cutter bee scissors. And now I'm going to go in and use distress ink. I like how using the same color on this paper just makes it look like it's really supposed to be there. I love that about that. So now I'm grabbing my labels punch from EK Success that I just picked up from Studio Calico with my last order, and I'm punching it out of some vintage cream cardstock, which is the same that I did the stamping on before. And I'm grabbing the Butterfly Dream set from Paper Tray Ink and stamping the thank you sentiment towards the left side in black memento ink. My original plan was to leave it like this, but then I decided that I really wanted something else around it. And Studio Calico just released a set that goes along with this labels die. So I pulled it out, and I've never done this before, but I decided to cut the stamp because they didn't match up exactly with the punch, and I figured I'd be using them separately anyways. So I went ahead, cut them apart, And you know what? I don't feel bad about it. It's kind of freeing, actually. So this will help me get a more exact placement when I go to stamp. Alright, and I'm going to stamp it in Wild Honey Distress ink. And there we go. I'm going to trim off the little excess on the edge. It was bothering me. I missed it by probably like a 32nd of an inch. But I decided to just trim it off a little bit. And then I'm going to stamp off the excess ink of that stamp and the thank you stamp, just so that I'm not inking up anything on my desk that I don't want to be. And now I just lined it up on my card. That's about where I want to put it. And I decided to adhere it down first. And then I'm going to go back and fold it over and staple it. Pull out my stapler and fold it over and do a little crisscross staple. And as I was doing this card, I decided that I need the Tim Holtz Tiny Attacher, so that's coming home to me soon. Okay, so I decided to need a little bit more. I wasn't sure quite what to add, so I went to my go-to favorite, some cream ribbon. Had to go grab it. Alright, and now I'm going to wrap it around. And this ribbon's really slippery, so it takes a while to get it in the right place, but it's relatively easy to work with once you have it kind of where you want to go. So I just tie it in a bow, do a little finagling and twisting. And I love really thin ribbon like this because it makes a good statement without overpowering all the other elements on the card. Okay, so I'm just going to flip it over and secure the ribbons on the back with some adhesive. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some washi tape to the top. These are strips. They can come on a sticker sheet, and you can just peel off the strips. And it's actually really cool because you're not dealing with the whole roll then. I have some rolls of washi tape as well, but I really like this kind too. So I did a bigger strip, I think it's about a 1/2 inch, and a 1/4 inch strip next to that to kind of balance out the label on the other side of the card. And I'm just folding over the excess and stapling it down, of course. So now it is time to adhere it to the card. I'm just going to put some dimensional adhesive on the back, cut up some foam tape, and stick it on the back. There we go. And there we have it. So check out my blog for more information and close-ups of this card. And thank you very much for watching. Have a great day.